Hey everyone, this is Daz from QCJ. So, I would never think that I'd be the type of guy who'd be doing a review on a game like this, but I really feel like I have to. I feel like no one's really talking about this game right now, not at least to the point that I feel like it needs to be, and that is Madden 26. Now, for backstory, I have not played a lot of Madden over the years. The last Madden I had was 13 on the Wii U. Before that was '06 on the GameCube. And then I had a couple like on the Super Nintendo. I had one that me and my dad played all the time on the 64. I think that was 2001. Regardless, I'm not the type of person who's like gonna be going on and on about a freaking sports title. And as you can see here, and this is not counting digital downloads. I'm pretty well busy right now, and frankly speaking, Cyberpunk is probably my most played game up till this point on the system. Um, the Switch 2 has been a really kind of an odd duck for me. I went in thinking that it was going to be my Nintendo machine, and it's kind of been the opposite for me. It's kind of been the third party machine for me, which is definitely not what I was expecting. I was expecting to get a PS5 Pro and have that be my third party machine and then just do Mario Kart and whatever on this. And I barely played Mario Kart. That did not grip me. Uh, Definitely not playing Donkey Kong right now. That didn't grip me either. So it's weird because you look at a game like Cyberpunk, and while it's not a Nintendo game, it's very polished and huge in scale, major story. You can at least understand why it might be taken in by that. So why the hell am I so smitten with Madden of all things? And this is from the perspective. I just want to say this is from the perspective of someone who hasn't played um, recent ones. So maybe a lot of this stuff has been around for a while. I don't know. I don't really care. Um, Take this or leave it. So first thing I have to say is graphically, it really surprised me. Madden 13 had this weird thing where the players looked like they were hovering over the ground by about like I don't know 4 inches or so. You would notice it in replays, and I don't know. I know it sounds minor, but it was really distracting. And this is back in a day where like 3D grass wasn't really a thing. I think they had 3D grass in like a 10-foot radius. It was like really small. I remember it being really small. Like any further past the character was focusing on, there it was just a flat texture. Um, so maybe that's why they're doing it. I don't know. But graphically though, really impressive. Resolution seems to be 1080p if I had to guess from looking at it. The players have like really good skin definition, sweat. The faces are expressive, even down to coaches and whatever have you. Hair looks pretty decent. The crowd is where it starts taking a bit of a hit. The people in the crowd don't look great. I'm talking about the ones, by the way, where they focus on them like as a close up, like reactions. Um, they look like maybe PS3 quality or something like that, or maybe even worse. Not the best. And women especially have this weird issue. If they don't have a ponytail, their hair is like I don't know, gravity's up to like 1,000. It's just like all over the place and being pulled. It looks really bad. That said, um, everything on the field is phenomenal, and I wasn't expecting much. I was hoping that they wouldn't be hovering over the ground, but I really wasn't expecting too awful much. You know what I mean? And really came away very impressed. Lighting is great. Reflections on the helmets and everything are great. The cloth, like everything looks like what you maybe expect on a PS5 base. Now, I will clarify again. Uh, the audience probably looks better in PS5, the up close. However, the stadium, all the people in the stadium, from what I can tell, are 3D. All that looks great. Like, I'm a Steelers fan of old, so like the entire stadium, people are, flying the terrible towels and everything. They're not just static and awkward and unmoving like previous versions I played. It's been a huge upgrade. That being said, one of the reasons why I never really became a Madden fan back in the day is, past doing like a season or something like that, or just quick plays when I was playing with my dad, I didn't really have any reason to go ahead and keep coming back to the game. And sure enough, I did the same thing with this that I've done in previous Maddens. The first thing I did was booted up quick play, and I played like 6 or 7 matches, and I had fun, and it was starting to not wane, but like I'd done it. You know what I mean? But first bit of a clue is that it's not just quick match. In quick match, you also have access to a whole host of current stuff that's happening as far as games. So I was able to select a whole bunch of preseason game matchups, which was cool because as someone who isn't paying hundreds of dollars a year in order to watch NFL on streaming, just because I don't know, I'm 40 years old, man. Like, I'm used to NFL being free because it was on television. So the idea of paying that kind of money in order to watch football kind of sucks. And it's been prohibitive. That's a whole nother topic of conversation. But I feel like NFL has almost become like a luxury item, which is weird. This enables me to feel like I have that connection again to NFL, despite the fact that I'm not really able to watch much outside of whatever the hell's on Amazon Prime. And it's been great. I now know what is going on in the season. And I really recommend, by the way, coming in at the beginning of Madden because you have little touches like that, little ties to the season. So if you wait to buy this game for 6 months, you're going to be out basically 6 months of content in a way. But what really got me was Ultimate Team, or My Ultimate Team, or whatever the hell it's called. It says Ultimate Team, but people have referenced it as My Ultimate. Whatever. Maybe it's changed names over the years. I really don't know. One thing that made me apprehensive about Ultimate Team is that I remember there was this huge stigma, and I don't know, it was like one of the examples used all the time when people talk about how crappy the industry is, the gaming industry. And basically what they would say is, oh, it's just a bunch of microtransactions and gambling and whatever have you. And maybe it was really bad before. And frankly speaking, I can see how maybe it might have been. But basically, it's like, baseball card sort of packs. You rip them open and you get new players. And as you play, you get new players. But that's the thing, is that I've been getting so many players just through playing Ultimate Team. I feel like I'm making progression all the time. As you level up, you get all sorts of goodies. You get players, you get jerseys, you get stadiums, you get play boost cards that give you like different abilities, whether it makes you stronger or perceive player plays better or whatever have you, right? And so your team is kind of always evolving. I have never really felt immediately compelled to go make a purchase. The only thing I did is that I did do the premium pass, which I believe is about $15, and that's like a battle pass, right? So if you're playing like Fortnite, you have the free shit battle pass, and then you have the premium battle pass. And the premium battle pass, when you're earning stuff, it gives you a whole lot more stuff that would be normally locked out. You can spend $15 or more on a freaking skin in Fortnite, so it was just whatever to me. But I have not bought a card pack because you're giving them so often. In addition to that, I've noticed that you also have the ability to go ahead and put things on auction. So old cards that you maybe find useless, you can put them on auction. In fact, this is one thing I have made a purchase on, is I bought one of the Steelers players, a wide receiver, on auction. Not with real money, mind you, just with the coins or whatever the hell they are earned in the game itself just by playing the game. And that's been great. And it's been really engaging. Some negatives. I've had situations where the announcers will react to things that aren't actually happening. I'll give you an example that happened today. I had the announcer say that I was not successful in throwing a pass. Right, it was an incomplete pass, and because of that, I had to give up the ball on downs as it was fourth quarter. It wasn't. It was, or not fourth quarter, fourth down. It wasn't. It was third down, going into fourth. So I still had another play, and I ended up going for it on fourth and completing the pass, and everything was fine. I didn't give up the ball on downs. So that was weird. I've also had one time during the halftime show where the halftime announcer was talking while the in-game announcer was talking, and one was slightly louder than the other, so it was like this weird layered effect. So that was odd. And then I've had minor bugs where like you have a touchdown and someone's doing a dance and they're like doing a dance inside the body of like a cameraman on the side of the field, and it's kind of awkward. Personally, I don't really care about that. It's not been too distracting, and everything looks so good and otherwise well done. The presentation, I gotta say, is really well done. There's all different types of celebrations. There's group celebrations. The way that the animations work on the field has gravely improved since the last time I played Madden. I'm so used to Madden feeling like it's just going from one animation and then into another animation and into another, and everything always felt really choppy and weird. And I'll say this, while you're like picking a play or something, as it's going from one scene to the next, there is a bit of a herky-jerkiness between scenes that might be a little distracting for some people. For me, it's not. But I'm talking about in gameplay. In gameplay, the animations are butter smooth. It's never looked more realistic than this for me. I think they did a really, really good job. And this is being done on a tablet with an inaudible fan. And it's producing graphics that I would estimate would be near a base level PS5 at 1080p. Sometimes it gets a little framey on like intros before the game or something like that, like maybe 30, 40 frames per second, but it's like lock 60 during gameplay. One thing I will say, and this isn't necessarily broken, but poorly explained, the kick meter, I forget what it's called, it has a name, but it looks like a giant arrow, and then you set left to right, and then you set the power. This is not well explained. And even on the graphic itself, it says like hold to set power or something like that, right? That's not true at all. I have no idea what's going on with this, but it's actually gotten to the point where people on Reddit and on the EA forums are reporting this as a bug and as broken because they think it is. And what ends up happening is one of two things. If you hold the B button and then release it, because it says release, that's what it says. It says like release B button to set power or something like that. That's bullshit. It's just bullshit. It's not how this works. It works like a Hot Shots Golf or Mario Golf, where it's like click, click, click. So you click once for the left and right. You click once to start the power meter, and then you click another one time to set it. Now at the very tip of the arrow is a red tip on the tip of the arrow, and if you hit that in the red on an extra point, for example, then the arrow goes back and forth like it's flipping around, and you can have an inaccurate shot. Now, if you were doing what I was doing and did what this on screen graphic said and held and then released, it ends up going to the top and then shooting down on the power, and then it shanks the kick, and the ball will go like veering way off left or right into the audience, and I wasn't able to make an extra point. And I saw other people saying the same thing, begging for an update. Now you're probably saying, well, there's probably other control schemes, and there are. You have classic control scheme for kicks, for example. And initially, when I thought that this was a bugged out issue, I switched back to that in quick play. However, in Ultimate Team, you don't have access to those controls because you can do online and competitive. So everybody has to be on the same level playing field. So you're locked in that sort of control only. In reality, if on extra point kicks and punts you don't reach the red, and you don't hold and then release the button, but instead just click it on the very top, you'll be fine. And kicks are easy. Well, relatively. However, if you do what you think you would do based by reading the graphic, then you're going to have a terrible time. So I feel like in that case, while it's not a bug, it's not very well explained. On top of that, training mode has you doing punts and kickoffs, but not extra points. Extra points being where the ball acts the most erratically if you're doing it poorly. And so by not being able to go into training and really zero in what the hell's going on, it took me way more matches than I care to admit to know what the hell's happening. That being said, like, everything else lifts up the rest of the game so much. Like I said, the way that it controls, the way that it plays, the amount of music. For example, I remember the GameCube version 06 of Madden. Geez, man, you got so sick and tired of hearing those same songs. It was like 6 to 8 songs or whatever. There's like 86 songs on here. On top of that, when you're in the music menu, you can listen to the songs in completion. They're not clips. So you can just sit there all day and just listen to music, which is great. You can also make a custom playlist. So if there's someone, and yes, she's in this game, Jake, if you're listening, Lizzo has a song, you can just turn that one off. It'll never play, which is great. But it's just such a fun game. I've put in probably well more than a dozen hours so far, and I just bought the game on launch day on the 14th, so it was only like 3 days ago. And obviously I'm working and everything else, so basically all my free time has been playing this game. Tabletop mode, or however you want to play it portably, works phenomenally. I am not noticing any graphical dips on the Switch 2. And that's something that's really impressive. And I've been noticing that across the board. Same thing with Street Fighter 6, for example. Like, portable mode is not nixing, chopping off at the knees performance. So, yeah. However you play it, docked or otherwise, it's a great experience. Now, that being said, this is one of the more graphically intensive games. I've noticed that my battery goes pretty quick. Under 2 hours quick. So keep that in mind. I'd be near a power charger or adapter or whatever if I were you. That being said, I mean, even if you're outside of Ultimate Teams, there's all sorts of different modes. You can go ahead and work your way up to it through a Super Bowl with an official team. You can do a season, quick play, online. Everything seems to work great. And I gotta say, man, I really hope EA continues making these games on Nintendo platforms, because I think the formula is quite nice. You get a near PS5 level look. You get great controls. You get all the features. This is not a gimped version of the game. And you can play it portably. You can take it anywhere you want. And it's great. And frankly speaking, given what some games are going for right now, Mario Kart, I'm looking at you. Even Cyberpunk, for example, on the Switch 2 is more expensive than this. I actually feel like this is more than fair. As a small update, if you're an actual subscriber to this channel, I'll go through it right now. Like, this is definitely in my top two. Street Fighter 6 looks great. I'm kind of not feeling it as far as a fighter. I'm trying to push my way through. I probably wouldn't recommend that. Cyberpunk has been my go-to game for the system so far. It's a phenomenal port. I can't believe it runs as well as it does. These are all Switch One games, and then Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm not gonna get that all the way to the bottom. I just don't like it. Straight up, I'm probably gonna sell that game. I don't like it at all. I know that you don't have to like bulldoze through all the land, but it's just the feedback loop that you get makes you feel like you need to. And frankly, I'm not really into 3D Mario games and the like, and this is basically that on steroids. If that's your jam, great. It looks great. It plays fine-ish. I just, it's not my thing. So like I said, and in Mario Kart, sorry, I almost didn't count that because it's not here because it's a digital download. Mario Kart is just, Mario Kart. And it's fine, but I feel like a lot of people would be quicker to buy Donkey Kong and pass this up, and I feel like it in reality it's the total opposite. I feel like this is a far bigger game, if that makes any sense. I feel like this offers more, and I can play it a whole lot more and get more out of it. So if you're a Madden veteran, you're probably laughing at this review thinking it's dog crap and you've known like more than half of this stuff, and that's great for you. For someone who largely played on PC and Nintendo platforms, this is rather new to me because while the games are on PC, let's be honest, the ports are always negatively reviewed because of how poorly optimized and ported they are to PC. So I've just never bothered getting them on PC even when they go cheap. So for someone who hasn't had a lot of access to EA games, really impressed. And I hope we get more. I saw that Apex Legends came out, which is great. I mean, if it runs anywhere near as good as Fortnite does, then more the better. And that's another game. Fortnite, I've been playing the heck out of that on Switch too. It runs great and looks really, really, really nice. And it's no longer the joke that it was on Switch 1. So anyway, that's the review. Hopefully that helps. Don't sleep on it because it's just a sports game. I know sport like EA games get this rap or in like 2 years it'll be worth a nickel. Maybe. Right now it's worth every single penny for me. It's keeping my Switch warm, and really do recommend it. I wouldn't be making a review if I wasn't recommending it. In fact, this is the first Switch 2 review I've done, even more so than Cyberpunk. That should tell you something. Hopefully it helps. Anyway, Daz out. See you guys later.